Hello, She Buys It! It's so good to see y'all tonight. So I just got an email from a lady who started the email by saying that she's talked to a lot of scammers and she's just not interested in that and she wants to know how I got started. It's a fair question. I can give you the short and sweet version, or I can give you the long, drawn-out version. And the truth is, when I got started in real estate investing, I was working for my mom's company. My mom has a dump truck company. She actually got 4 dump truck companies. And I just graduated college. It was the middle of recession, so I started working for mom because I needed a job, right? I was living in one of mom's rental houses and I had to pay rent. So I was working at my mom's office, and it was during the recession, and I was making like $500 a week. So I was going to auctions and buying furniture and taking that furniture home, putting it out in my house, decorating my house, and then selling that furniture on Craigslist. That's how I learned to sell. That's how I learned to use Craigslist. And that's how I learned to take pictures of things. Then I was watching my mom one day, and she was making an extra deposit that I hadn't seen her make before. And I said, "What is that?" And mom was like, "Well, this is the rent that we get every month." And I was like, "What do you mean that's the rent that you get every month? Where does that money come from? How are you getting paid on that? And how much money is that?" Well, she was getting way more than I was making every month. And these people were just mailing her checks, and she was depositing the checks. And I was like, "Well, how do I get mailbox money?" She said, "Well, you have to start investing in stuff. Go figure it out." I was like, "You got anything else that I could, learn or grab onto here?" And she was like, "No, go figure it out. I figured it out. You'll figure it out. Go buy some real estate. You'll be fine." Alrighty then. So I got a real estate license. You don't need a real estate license if you want to be a real estate investor. But I got my license, and it took me 18 months to list and sell a house, and I made $1,200. It was pathetic. And in that amount of time, I got I got an auctioneer's license. And to get a real auctioneer's license and a real estate license, you have to work under another broker and auctioneer. So I was serving my time both ways, all right? You have to work with brokers, you have to work with auctioneers. And so I ended up at a real estate auction in December of 2012. To fill out my time, to serve my time, to get my license as a real broker and a real auctioneer. And I was at the auction just clerking and working and learning and serving my time when I realized that we were selling land for like $500 a lot. $1,000 an acre. And I said, "Hold on, can I buy something here? Because I really want to be an investor. I don't really want to be a broker. I don't really want to be an auctioneer. I really want mailbox money. I just thought if I had these licenses, it would help me." So my broker was like, "Yeah, you can buy. Just raise your hand." So I went and I raised my hand on the next lot that went up. I ended up paying $1,200 for an acre of land in Decatur, Tennessee that I'd never seen. I did no research on. But I went through the whole process of buying land. I was a real estate investor. Way before I was a good real estate agent. I only did that one listing. I'm not who you want to talk to about agenting. Couldn't figure that one out. And before I was a successful auctioneer, which I've only done 2 auctions in my entire life. So again, I don't want to teach you how to auction. But I did buy that land, and it sparked something inside of me because it was $1,200 and I was a real estate investor. I was a real estate investor, and it cost less than getting a real estate license or an auctioneer's license. And it was a lot faster. It took like 60 seconds instead of 2 or 3 years. I bought that piece of land. 6 months later, I had bought 7 or 8 pieces of land. Then I bought a house at auction. Then I bought a house for sale by owner that was falling down a mountain. And then my broker sent me an email and said, hey, you're doing a lot of stuff, but you're kind of scattered about it. There's a real estate investors association meeting. I want you to go to it and learn. I want you to grow. I want you to get your feet under you because you're just all scattered about and it's no good for anybody, okay? It scares me to watch you. I was like, okay. So in this email that this lady sent me, she said, how did you get started and did you have a mentor? So let me just take a time out here and say that my mom was my very first mentor, whether she meant to be or not. My broker was my mentor, whether she meant to be or not. My auctioneer was a mentor, whether he meant to be or not. The Knoxville Real Estate Investors Association president, Victor Jernigan, he was a mentor, whether he meant to be or not. I had 4 mentors, 4 very direct mentors before I ever actually hired a mentor. Okay? Because at that first RIA meeting, they started talking about lease options. They started talking about owner financing. And I was a real estate agent and I was a real estate investor and I already knew everything there was to know about everything because I was 28. Except they started talking about lease options and owner financing and I couldn't even understand or spell what they were saying. It didn't make any sense to me. So I signed up for a special presentation that was going to cost $75 to learn more about lease options and owner financing. That's where I got my 5th mentor, Bruce Barrett, who actually broke down how he was able to make $100,000 in his spare time while maintaining his job and having a very happy life by just doing 4 deals a year with lease options and owner financing. That was the 5th mentor I had. But he told me, or he said to the whole class, that he'd gone to a boot camp. He'd gone to hear a guru. He'd gone to a weekend seminar, and that's where he really learned everything. So even though I told Victor that I didn't have $75 because I just bought these houses and I was broke trying to get rich in real estate, I did call and extend my credit limits and put a class in Florida on my Discover card that night because Bruce was awesome and he gave an amazing presentation, but he wasn't ready to be a mentor. Not to me and not to anybody else. He just wanted to do his deals. He just wanted to do maybe 1 Saturday session a year, but he didn't want to be a mentor for me. So I knew that if I wanted to go to the next level, if I wanted to scale up, if I wanted to grow, if I really wanted to learn, if I really wanted to get in and figure out how to actually make $100,000 extra every year, I needed to go wherever Bruce had gone. I needed to learn whatever Bruce had learned, and I needed to sign up and get somebody to help me do this thing. So that's what I did. I went to an owner financing boot camp in December of 13. I went to a lease option creative financing boot camp February of 14, and in February of 2014. So I'd been in real estate investing for 2 years by the time I went to that first creative financing boot camp and learned about yellow letters. I learned about bandit signs. I learned about how to use Craigslist for more than selling furniture. I learned how to talk to sellers. I learned how to communicate who I was helping and why I was only helping them. I learned how to have a real estate license but not use it. I learned how to be an investor with $10. In February of 14, I signed up and got my very first official mentor for $15,000. February of 2014, I maxed out every credit card I had. I applied for another one. I cleaned out my savings, my life savings. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell my boyfriend. I didn't tell my dad. I didn't tell anybody because I was terrified of what they would all say to me. You're doing what? You're spending how much to learn what? I just knew it. I could just hear it in my head. But I had to. I didn't know anybody who actually knew how to put this plan into place. I didn't know anybody who knew how to do these deals. I didn't know anybody who knew how to speak this other real estate language. My mom was a real estate investor, but she didn't speak about lease options and owner financing and creative financing and wholesaling. And my mom was worried that it was illegal. There's no way I was going to tell her I was spending $15,000 on a mentor, somebody to coach me on the phone once a week. But that $15,000 investment in myself pushed me. And by the end of February 2014, I was sitting in the seller's kitchen promising to buy their house for $122,000. I gave them $10 at the kitchen table that night. And the next week, the first week of March, was when I had my first appointment with my mentor. And I said, hey, great, awesome. So I got this house under contract. And what I'm thinking about doing is this and this and this and this and this and this. And I went on this whole big long thing with my mentor as soon as he picked up the phone. And he was like, hold on, wait a minute. You're trying to tell me on the very first call that you already have a house under contract? How did you do that? When did you do that? Why did you do that? You were, and I was like, I just dropped 15 grand on you. I have a house under contract now. Help me close it. He was like, alrighty then. I like a massive action taker. That man and I worked for an hour every week together, and I closed that deal and made $15,586 by May the 12th. 2 months after I signed and said, I'm ready, let's do this, here's my money, let's go. I had my first deal done fast, closed. I had a check for 15 grand in my hand. So I had my full investment back on my very first deal. And it took me 8 weeks. I had that mentor for 6 months. From February to November of 2014, like 9 months, I did 14 deals, most of those deals while I was with my mentor, so I could bounce ideas with him, bounce ideas back and forth. I could email him, I could talk to him once a week, I could do all that. But I basically had 4 months with him for free because I got my full investment back on that very first deal. And that's why I help women now. I had a mentor. That was the first mentor that I paid big bucks. I've spent over $100,000 on mentors, on coaches, on programs, on learning and growing and educating myself. I'm signing up tonight for another program to go to in February of 2020 so that I can keep learning and growing and then giving this information back. That's how I learned. People learned. They taught me. Now I'm teaching other people, but I'm going back to school for 10 days in February so I can learn more, so I can teach y'all. I can grow. I can help you grow. I can help you get more deals done. And that's why I want you to get your first deal done fast, because after you get that first deal done, I'm telling you, February 28th, I got that first deal under contract. March 17th of 2014, I got 2 houses under contract on St. Patrick's Day. Less than a month later, like 2 weeks later, I got 2 houses under contract on the very same day. The end of March, I got another house done. April, I got no houses under contract. The first Saturday in May, I got 3 houses under contract that first year. All right, I had 6 houses under contract before my very first one closed in May. I did 14 deals and made almost $140,000 in those first 9 months that I had my mentor. Well, I had the mentor for 6 solid months, but I had mentors. I had 5 mentors before I ever had an official mentor. So yes. How much did I pay for my mentors? The first 5? Didn't realize they were mentors. But that first one cost me 15 grand. And I made it back in the first deal. Because when you pay for something, you pay attention to it. So, that email came in. I thought it was interesting. How did I get started? That's the short, long version of how I got started. There's a lot of other things that happened that I won't bore you with today. But I want you to get excited because everything that I've learned over the last 7 years, I'm going to be giving away for free over the next 7 days, starting on Thursday. Thursday of this week to Thursday of next week, we're going on an adventure, ladies. I'm going to help you get into the right mindset so that you can say, you know what? If these guys can do it, I can too. If she can do it, I can do this too. Ladies, this is your time to get these deals done. I'm super excited too because in the group, here in the She Buys It group, starting on Thursday until next Thursday, we're going to have a challenge. I'm going to be live in the group every single day, giving you your assignments, giving you your homework. I've already kind of spilled the beans on this Thursday and Friday's assignments to the Mastermind girls and to the FTDF Plus girls. So they're already started on the challenge. But don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to catch up. So make sure you're in here. Go ahead and hashtag on this video first. If you're watching this on the first play, if you're watching this on the second play, hashtag deal. All right, because we're going to talk, that was my first deal. It was on Windsor. I will never forget it. I got it under contract with $10. I got it under contract for $122,000. That's what they told me they owed on it. And I sold it for $135,000. And the people rented the house from me before I had any payments due until they could close it in May. So I got rental income when I didn't have any payments going out, and I got a spread of about $13,000. You can do this, and we're going to get started doing this on Thursday. All right, I'm excited you're here. I'm excited to go on this adventure with you. So, woo! Y'all get excited too! Yay! Deals! Denise says deals. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, I'll be back tomorrow. Y'all get excited. Tell me down in the comments, tell me how you did your first deal. And tell me, did you have a mentor? Tell me all the goodies. I can't wait to talk to you. Bye, ladies.